We live in a world that is surrounded by technology. Undoubtedly, our lives are such that they revolve around it. Whether it is the complex computer systems, the phones in our pockets, or even the watches on our wrists, technology has given us access to information at a scale that has never before been seen in the history of the human race. Hundreds of hours of videos are uploaded to the internet every minute. Thousands of pictures and billions of instant messages are sent across the world each hour. Not only are we able to send and store vast amounts of information, the growth of our communication networks allow us to transfer this information anywhere in the world within seconds, across boundaries that were unimaginable just a few years ago. This informational and technological advancement has affected every country and every industry on the planet. It is unsurprising then that it has also played a role in the propagation of the message of Islam by the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. This is perhaps most evident in the way that Jalsa Salana is run in many countries every year. This is a story of how technology has played a key role in the development of Jalsa Salana over the last 124 years. It was the year 1938, whilst the Allied forces strived to keep Adolf Hitler at bay and ensure stability in Europe. Something magnificent took place in India. While sitting in a remote village of the Punjab, Hazrat Muslim Maud, the second caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, delivered the following sermon.
That day is nigh, in which an individual will be able to lecture and teach from one place, captivating the entire world in the process. For now our situation does not permit us. Currently we do not have enough resources. There is an obstacle in the form of a lack of scientific advancement. However, should all these barriers be removed, and given the success Allah the Exalted is granting us at such a rapid pace, it should be understood that in the near future all these obstacles will be removed. Once this happens, it is well possible that a sermon of the Quran and Hadith be delivered in Qadian, and people of Java, America, England, France, Germany, Australia, Hungary, Arabia, Egypt, Iran, and similarly in all other countries would be listening to that very sermon from their respective places through a wireless radio. What a spectacular scene this would be indeed! It would be the dawn of a magnificent revolution, the mere thought of which fills our hearts with delight and rapture.
This was no ordinary statement. In fact, hindsight tells us that this snapshot of the next 80 years ensued exactly as stated. When the Promised Messiah, peace be upon him, initiated the institution of Jalsa Salana in 1891, the purpose of this gathering was to unite the whole of mankind under the banner of the unity of God. The first Jalsa was attended by 75 guests, arriving first to the nearest train station, Batala, then completing the journey by horse cart or by foot. It is only through the grace of Allah that the last century saw the Jalsa expand from a few guests arriving to one remote village to thousands of guests, some arriving by car, some by bus, by train, aeroplane or by ship. Regardless of which transport they are using, one can only admire the fulfillment of the prophecy, and when the she-camels, 10 months pregnant, are abandoned. With the ever-growing guests of the Promised Messiah, peace be upon him, attending the blessed conventions, the demand for food and its rapid distribution has increased many-fold. From the small kitchen and single effort of Hazrat Ammajan, Razidallah Anha, many departments and hundreds of volunteers are required just for the catering of the guests. Today's technology provides the Jalsa Salana with the capability of producing thousands of naan each hour. Had it not been for the technology, the feeding of a few hundred would have been a challenge, let alone thousands. It is this progress of technology that has enabled the divinely established langar to flourish and cater for all the participants.
From the very beginning, the Prophet ﷺ always looked for ways and means to spread the message far and wide, whether it's in the publication of books and getting it across the globe. The audiovisual means were considered as a way of spreading the message of Islam, Ahmadiyyat. From the early steps of the phonograph and throughout the Khilafah after that.
अल्लाह ताला ने जो ये वादा फरमाया कि मैं तेरी तबलीग को ज़मीन के किनारों तक पहुँचाऊँगा, ये किस शान से पूरा फरमाया है। हमारे वहम और गुमान में भी ये बात नहीं आ सकती थी। कल परसों की बात है, हम रेडियो की बातें करते थे तो अपने अंदर ये मक़दरत नहीं पाते थे कि हम कोई इंटरनेशनल रेडियो ही कायम कर सकें। कुजा वो दिन और कुजा 2-3 साल के अरसे में ये अहमदियत के काफिले का फलांगता हुआ सफ़र, जो पहले जमीन पर छलांगे मार रहा था, अब आसमानों पर उड़ने लगा है और आसमान से फिर जमीन पर उतरता है और पैगाम देकर फिर अपने सफ़र पर रवां दवा होता है। ये निज़ाम खुदा ने हमें अता फरमाया है और ये उस इल्हाम की बरकत है, ना कि हमारी कोशिशों की।
The idea of a radio station was in the early 70s or in the 70s during the life of Khalifa al-Masih III, rahimahullah. And that was something, a dream that the Jamaat wanted to fulfill.
It is truly extraordinary how a small community who barely had the means of starting even a radio station went on to launch the first ever 24-hour Muslim television channel.
जिस मका की आरज़ू मेहदी को थी, हूबहू वैसा मका है MTA। सब घरों में अहमदी अहबाब के खुलने वाली खिड़कियां है MTA। जिस मका की आरज़ू मेहदी को थी, हूबहू वैसा मका है MTA।
Khalifa al-Masih Rabi rahimahullah almost single-handedly decided to go for a TV station. It was started as the Ahmadiyya Muslim presentation to start with for the Friday sermon every week, and that increased slowly as the need arose.
The progress of technology has not only impacted the Jalsa on the ground level, but changes even took place thousands of miles above the earth.
Nowadays, relatively, the satellite capacity or the satellite availability is relatively a lot cheaper than it used to be in the olden days. Nowadays, we use digital technology where you need a small fraction of what you needed in the past, and obviously that was reflected also in the cost.
Initially, the Khalifa would deliver his sermon and the millions of anxious Ahmadis would wait for weeks for the tapes to arrive to their respective countries. Now, however, a voice transmitted from a microphone is echoed to the four corners of the earth.
Prior to the start of MTA, the audio-visual mediums were utilized, whether it's through audio tapes or videotapes, and they used to be distributed to different centers around the world. The Khutbah Jummah used to be transcribed, people used to listen to it directly from Huzur's voice. But the start of MTA, it gave a totally different dimension to the whole thing, where translations were also available, so people could listen to the Friday sermons directly in their own languages as Huzur delivered them in London. Naturally, we had to adapt with the technologies available. MTA has constantly improved and tried to adjust itself with the technological advancements. In some occasions, it was one of the leadings or the forefront of technology, especially when the digital transmission came to play a big role in the world of transmission. And we were amongst the first to transmit to consumers in digital form in North America. We developed our own receivers, which obviously weren't available in the market during that time, and we distributed that to our viewers. And from then onwards, the digital technology, digital transmission started taking shape, and that has become a standard that anyone who wants to watch satellite television now has a box like that in their houses.
From humble beginnings and under the divine guidance of Khilafat, MTA International has grown from strength to strength, utilizing ever-changing and advancing technologies to transmit the voice of Khilafat throughout the globe.
MTA started as a very small setup. Our teams, Hazrat Masih Rabi had taken on himself to train the people, to give them exact vision and direction, and he had that clear in his mind. The teams used to meet with him almost on a daily basis. MTA started in a studio where most of the programs were live. Hazrat Masih Rabi, Rahimullah, used to come to the studio, which was almost a 5 meter by 5 meter studio, one single room, which also happens to be the library of MTA International. And on top of the shelves, we used to have a curtain that runs over them, and Huzur used to come to the same room and conduct his live programs from there. Jalsa Salanas, from a very long time, they used to be recorded on tapes, but when MTA started, the recordings and the audio-visual side took a different dimension altogether, as it connected the whole Jamaat around the world. As MTA's transmission was reaching every corner, it took the Jalsa to a totally different level, from a local, national level to an international level, where people simultaneously, at the same time, they used to join the Khalifa and the gathering in the United Kingdom or anywhere else around the world, which culminated in one of the Jalsas to the international bayats, where people gave allegiance, gave pledge to the Khalifa through MTA International. And this is where MTA International played a vital role and the direct link between the followers and their Khalifa. MTA International started in its early days with 3 broadcast cameras. Then when the new team was established, we had an additional 2 cameras, which are almost a consumer type cameras. Now in the center we have over 20 cameras. MTA has started to capture the content of the Khulafa primarily and their programs in HD. The first Jalsa Salana that was recorded in HD and preserved in high definition was in 2006. And since then, MTA has been preserving that material in that form, and now we are reaching the level of acquiring material and preserving it in 4K alongside the HD, the high definition, of course. But this is something that we aspire to preserve the highest quality possible for future proofing and future generations. The coverage of the International Jalsa Salana, specifically in the UK, has changed and still changing every single year. The scope of it is getting bigger and bigger. The coverage around the world is getting wider and wider. This year, in 2015, we have 3 channels that are transmitting separately: MTA 1, MTA 3, and our MTA feed for Africa. Apart from that, the utilization of the social media, the new technologies, the new media, the online platforms to make sure that the viewers have the best experience of Jalsa Salana, and we try to bring the environment, not only the speeches, the addresses that are given within the Jalsa, but also the experience of the people in Jalsa Salana, from the spiritual and the physical experience of being there.
Since the world has become a global village, the millions of Ahmadis who are unable to partake in the Jalsas can connect and watch the proceedings live on their televisions or via the internet, sitting just about anywhere in the world.
Ahmadiyat Zindabad, Zindabad, Zindabad.
By the grace and blessings of Allah the Almighty, we live in an age where the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is able to use all types of modern technologies to facilitate the enormous task of undertaking the Jalsa Salana year after year. We have seen how the technology has been used at the Jalsas, from helping with the transport of thousands of guests, to how the technology has changed to accommodate for the food preparation and distribution, and how advancements in technology over the years has allowed for the transmission of the live broadcast of the Jalsas to reach the corners of the earth. All these advancements in technology throughout the years has assisted the Ahmadiyya Muslim community to spread the voice of Khilafat and the true teachings of Islam to millions of people throughout the world, thus fulfilling the prophecy of Hazrat Muslim Maud.
नई सदी में हम दाखिल हैं, शुक्र खुदा का हर दिल में है, अहमदियत जिंदाबाद, अहमदियत जिंदाबाद.